Big Brother Canada 4 has come to a close, which means it's time for another edition of the Reality TV RHAPpy Hour. What's going on, everybody? My name's Jordan Parhar, and I'm with you once again to recap the latest edition of Big Brother Canada 4 on RHAPhasAwebsite.com. And today with me for this Mother's Day edition of the podcast is my two good pals. There's 3 live feed correspondents that work for RHAPhasAwebsite.com, but two of them have a very infamous rivalry. So on the last Sunday night of the season, I figured, why not? Let's have them both here. Let's have them duke it out, and we'll decide which is the better live feed correspondent. Well, not really. I mean, we could realistically make that happen, though, Brent and Taryn, tonight, because there was nothing really to talk about from this episode.
Yeah, I think they had some award ceremony and some nominations that didn't mean squat, and a competition for HOH that I'm not even sure what Cassandra was doing. I think she really didn't throw it. She said she didn't throw it on the feeds, but then she was kind of like, well, I think she kind of she tried to have it both ways. What was this episode even about, Taryn?
Well, hold on.
Yes.
We're acting like there's nothing to talk about here, but we have to talk about these award ceremonies. Really the makeout for Nick and Nikki over Kelsey and Jared? What were they thinking? Kelsey and Jared, that was a real makeout. Come on.
Preposterous, right? I mean, oh my God! I don't understand what they were thinking with that one. I mean, it's
unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. It really is. Okay, well,
Teddy Bear was robbed.
Teddy Bear was robbed. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining us, those of you who are here. I'm just looking at the attendance for tonight's episode. Not so many people here in attendance tonight because, it's Mother's Day. It's, if you're in the 604 right now, it's sunny, it's spring. There are much better things to do than watch, a podcast recapping an episode of a Canadian reality TV show in which approximately nothing happened, but for those of you that are here, we thank you very much. We're very appreciative, and to reward you, we're not really going to talk about this episode because there's not really anything to talk about. But before we get into that, let's set things up for you. We are live on RHAPhasAwebsite.com. We're on a Google Hangout, so if you want to send us some questions. And please, I say this at the beginning of every podcast, send us questions. But today, seriously, send us some questions because we're desperate for content. It's the end of the season. There's nothing really to talk about. So please send those in if you are watching us live. The 2 ways you can do that, you can tweet me. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Use the hashtag RHAPpy Hour, and you can get those in that way. Or you can leave a comment on the YouTube video. That's probably your best bet for getting those questions in. We're going to talk about the episode for, as I said in the pre-show, guys, probably approximately 3 minutes, and then we're going to jump right into the live feed. So if you are not a live feed person, I'm sorry, this is probably not going to be the podcast for you, but I mean, I don't know. We're at the end of the season. It's crunch time. Just stick around, honestly. I mean, why not? So anyway, let's just jump into it, guys. Okay, so this episode, we saw the HOH. The brothers won. We saw the BBCan Awards. Some people won. The nomination ceremony happened. Some people went up. And that was it.
Well, there is something to talk about, and I'm going to take them to task, Tim and Cass. How they have lost the last 2 competitions that were basically studying stuff that you should know if you're a fan of Big Brother. You should, how can Cassandra she's a fan of the show, Jordan. She's not a recruit, okay? How can she not know the names of the veto competitions? What do they have to do all day in the house except study? And then she gets 2 questions right. She tries to split the baby in half. Girl, by that point, the train has left the station. They already think you're not throwing the HOH competition. Go for it. I think that was a little bit of revisionist history in the diary room when she was like, well, maybe I should throw it. No, she didn't try to throw it. I think she was just mentally conflicted. She should have just owned her betrayal and said, ha, I'm not really throwing it. I'm really going for it, and went for it full bore. I think that would have helped her possibly win the competition. Instead, she tried to have it both ways, and now the brothers think they put one over on her, which I just wanted to barf at that. And can we just say that Jordan Parhar wins Twitter today with his tweet about the brothers in the diary room trying to emulate Chilltown was probably the most cringeworthy moment in the history of Big Brother Canada. Thank you, JP.
My tweet was a little bit different than that, but if you want to go check that out, yeah, it was. I was when I came up with what I said, I was like, normally I don't do this, but I was like, I think this is a good tweet. I think this might be a good tweet, and yeah, I got some love, so I was.
We got some love, yes.
Yeah, I was happy for it, or with it. Taryn, what do you think happened here with Cassandra? I mean. Just so cringeworthy so many times with the bros. I mean, like Brent said, them doing the Dr. Will thing, trying to, doing the phone call thing, one of the many things they've copied this season, including, saying hundo and all this other stuff. And then, Phil, he's like, yeah, wow, we totally convinced, we were just manipulating Cassandra at Final Four to throw it. We are so smart, man. I was just like, oh, my God. Oh, this show, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm at the very end and because I'm very stressed because I'm at a busy time and work and school at the same time as breaking down this game, but I just can't anymore, Taryn. I just can't.
Okay. Here's the thing about Cass, though. When the feeds came back, she did say, I didn't really throw that. Like it seemed like she was being defensive about it to nobody. Like she was talking to us. And like I didn't really throw that. Like I was trying, I think. And there was a defining moment in the competition where it seemed like she was saying, "Okay, I need to step off the gas. Maybe I should not even try." And there was a question where she said, "I knew the answer to that one and chose to not answer." I think to some extent she felt like I'm probably not going to win this competition anyway. I should just throw in the towel here and let the brothers think that I'm agreeing to their plan.
What?
I mean, that's what she said in the diary room. And why would she say it in the diary room? Why would she say it to Tim?
Oh, well, thank God you're here because I'm sorry I didn't hear. She really did say that. Like she really did. She I think it's all coming back to me. She said she knew an answer and she didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
She could have won or at least tied it up. It was 3 to 2. There were only 9 questions. There were 9 vetoes played.
I mean, I personally, for me, Taryn, I think this is revisionist history from Cass. I love Cassandra to death. She's probably, she's arguably my favorite player from this season. I think she's the favorite of a lot of people. But the thing with Big Brother is it's super easy to go in the diary room and say, yeah, I was throwing that comp. I was totally throwing that comp. No, there's a lot of times when they weren't. I mean, Cass was trying. She knows, hey, I'm trying to win this thing. This is all I can do. I'm doing whatever I can to win.
Right.
And
Tim told her to.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't get into this too much, but there are ways in which there are options in which it is easy to say it's easily presented. It's easy to say that I was actually throwing that. I wasn't actually trying. Sorry, Cass. I love you to death, but. She's too smart to do that. I think she's too smart to do that. I don't think she would do that. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But and who knows? Maybe we'll never know. But just from my perspective, as a house guest who has been in there and has had that opportunity to say, "Oh yeah, I was so throwing that competition," I think
I understand what you're saying. The thing that makes it slightly different for me is that there was a defining moment where she said, "All right, screw this," and she stopped answering questions.
Wait,
she said she knew one of the answers.
I thought she said that in the diary room.
No, she said that in the actual.
She mumbled it under her breath, like, "Okay, yeah. I'll throw it." But
exactly.
I mean, she
to herself. Why is she lying to herself?
I thought she was saying it to Nick, like to get him off her back.
But after that moment, that's when she stops answering questions altogether.
But I just think that's happenstance. I think that maybe she didn't.
It could be. It could. I'm just saying this gives it more credence than just like somebody who did terribly in a challenge and said afterward, "Oh, totally, whatever."
That's true.
And the fact that she again, like, why would she even say in the diary room?
I'll help us out here. It doesn't matter because if she really was throwing it, then she deserves to be evicted this week. If she didn't throw it and she didn't know the answers as a Big Brother fan, she deserves to be evicted this week. So it really doesn't matter what the hell happened. Like Cass, you should have been studying and you should have went for it. Next question.
But I think it matters to the brothers because they look like slightly less idiots if Cass actually did consider throwing.
Oh, you mean they look less assholish than they currently do now? that what you mean? Oh, okay.
How funny has it been the last like few episodes with how hard Phil has been getting clowned over him being in love with Kelsey? Like, it is the funniest thing. I mean, okay, here's the thing with the brothers. I mean, I was ripping them earlier. Nick is great. I like Nick a lot. Phil is just a Fruit Loop dingus, but I think the kid, he's a nice kid. He just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. That's really what it comes down to. And you can see it with how he's dealing with Kelsey. I mean, in this episode, like, what does the guy do? Like, what's he doing? Like, she's like, "Oh, you have a crush on me," and he's like, "No, I just said that because that was like a nice thing you were saying."
Well,
it's so bad. Like, okay, he's obviously been. I mean, you guys have had your finger on the pulse of the feeds, way more than I do. He's in love with her, right?
Well, he's in love with every other girl that like he phases onto because he used to be in love with Nikki, if anyone remembers. But there's a great moment in the last episode where they did that whole Nick telling Phil not to flirt with Kelsey so much, and then they showed the montage of Phil flirting with Kelsey, and I really wanted them to show another montage of Nick flirting with Kelsey because he does it too. They both do it almost equal amounts. And I thought it would have been really funny. They're two, young guys, and Kelsey's very attractive, so they're just fawning over her constantly.
Regardless of what you say about the bros, I mean, they're good TV. I'm sorry, but they're good TV. They are. I mean, they are they're the people you love to hate. Phil says all these stupid things. They're good in the competitions. They're.
I'm getting a headache.
Okay, quickly before I wrap this, I'll put a nice little bow on this. Thing. There's some Big Brother Canada people that are filming Amazing Race Canada right now. Calling my shot. I hope this opens the door for Nick and Phil to go on the Amazing Race because I think that would be super entertaining. Okay.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I think why not, right? Okay. I think this is good for the episode, right? There's nothing else we need to talk about, is there? No, right? There's nothing to talk about the episode. So, thank you guys for watching on this Mother's Day. We apologize for wrapping up the spoiler-free stuff a little early, but there really is a lack of content to talk about because, really, there was the Big Brother Canada Awards. Kelsey's just talking about how good she is in the game and like all that stuff, and that's pretty much it. So, we'll see you later. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And don't forget to join us. We're going to have it's finale week on Big Brother Canada, so we're amping up the coverage. So that means we got a special Wednesday edition of the show in addition to finale night coverage on Thursday. So both nights after the episode, we will be live. Wednesday night, I will be joined by Alex Kidwell, who was not able to join us tonight, and I will be joined by Willow McDonald once again. Willow killed it last week when she was on the show, so Willow is going to be with us once again before the finale. We will talk about the the fourth place finisher. We will eulogize whoever goes home, and that's pretty much all we'll really talk about. I think it's basically going to be similar to what we're going to be talking about in the live feed portion of the show tonight. So if you are leaving now and you're feeling a little bit bummed out, don't worry. Willow hopefully will make up for it, or make that up for you with the Wednesday show. Okay, here we go, guys. Spoiler time. What has happened, Taryn? Who has won the power of veto?
Well.
Wait, hold on. Breaking news. It looks like Audrey from Big Brother 17 is in the building.
I think everybody should break out their blankets and sunglasses. The brothers have won the veto.
Yes.
The brothers have won the veto. Oh my gosh. Here we go. Brent is in his Audrey attire. Please check us out on YouTube if you're just listening in the audio archives because it's worth it. Reality TV RHAP-ups on YouTube. Brent, first word that came to mind for you when you found out the bros won the veto.
I can't even say it on Rob Has a Podcast. Seriously. I can't. How did this season go down so badly? How is it that we were at a double eviction where the brothers couldn't compete in the veto with the odds on the side of the team of light, as I see it, okay? And somehow, here we are. And I guarantee you that in on Wednesday night's episode, most likely Cass will be evicted. We can talk about whether or not that's a good idea for Kelsey or not. But she's apparently an honorable woman, and she's made this treaty. And Cass is going to lose Big Brother Canada. And that's a freaking travesty because she's one of the best, most entertaining players to wrap up the strategic part, the social part, and just like absolutely fabulous DRs. I'm so bummed that Cass is going to be out.
Taryn, what's been the reaction on the feed so far of Tim and Kat? Or I mean, the feeds are down, but while the feeds were up, was there any reaction from Cass or Tim?
Cass was upset. She, moped a bit, and then she got in some fights with Tim about when exactly she made deals with certain people, and it was basically like they were fighting like a married couple. But yeah, I mean, there really wasn't much in the way of campaigning. It was all kind of locked up, despite the fact that it's like a no-brainer choice to evict Tim over Cass because he's way better at competitions. They're sticking with the treaty that Tim set up last week. While Cass was busy, struggling to survive, Tim was setting himself up for this week, and that work has paid off. So Tim will be moving along to the final three.
I will say this, that the feat, I gotta take this shit off because I'm too hot. Let me just say, if Cassandra has any game in her, she should be able to convince Kelsey to evict Tim here. Now, I'm in a bad spot here because, like, the only way that I think that we can get a great result out of this season, which is either Tim or Cassandra winning this season, is for Tim to move forward to the final three, because I do not believe I do not believe that Cassandra could win either's parts 1 or parts 2 of the final head of household challenge. So I'm rooting for Cassandra to make something happen and pull a rabbit out of the hat again. On the other hand, if she does that, she ain't been studying, so I don't think she could win the final HOH anyway. And if that happens, then the brothers are going to take Kelsey. Kelsey's going to take the brothers. And it's, like I said, it's going to be like watching paint dry. Seriously. I'm so bummed.
Is there any, Taryn, is there any argument that, I mean, Brent brings up a good point, and you said it too, like, I feel like it doesn't make any sense for Kelsey to keep Tim. Like, it's just so stupid.
And the brothers want to keep Tim too.
What? Yes. The brothers want to keep Tim too?
Yes, because those three have played with honor and integrity, and they've deserved their spots. And the brothers actually think that Tim wants them to win. They believe this. This is what happens when you put recruits in the house. Okay, this is what happens. They don't have any sense of game. They're just thinking about, well, us three deserve to be here, so let's obviously take out Cassandra here. Never mind the fact that it's in Kelsey and the brothers' best interest to take somebody like Cassandra forward who can't win a competition to save her life, and I have no idea why they're wanting to take Tim. Tim could beat either one of them in a jury. They would gladly give Tim the money at this point, the jury would, and they're playing with fire, so I hope they get burnt. I hope that they take Tim forward. He wins the final head of household, and somehow he evicts. I think he would probably evict Kelsey in this at that point. Taryn, don't you think? He'll take the brothers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he could go either way.
Yeah, I don't think it really matter.
I think he told Cassandra that he would take the brothers, but I would love to see the brothers get their ass handed to them in third place with no money.
Well, I do it's strange because both the brothers and Kelsey, they both think that they can beat Cass in the end. They both agree that she's useless in competitions, and yet they're still taking Tim. And I think it goes to show that last week wasn't quite as good for Cassandra as people were making it out to be. It was more that Joel just kind of self-destructed, and they kind of just let Cass limp along for another week before cutting her, even though now it's great for them to keep her.
Oh man, this is depressing. I just
Let me say something really quickly. I just want to put this in. I did a Periscope a few days ago, for those of you who don't know out there, and this is right after Nick won the veto, and I was pretty hard on the brothers and Kelsey. I really was, and it was not in a family-friendly way. I'm really angry about the way this season has gone. However, they do have families, and they do have siblings, and they have people that love them in their life. And Steve, the winner of Big Brother 17, tweeted me, and he asked me to come on and talk with him, and we talked for a little while, for those people who were up in the middle of the night around 4:30 in the morning. And Steve rightly pointed out to me that Nick and Phil and Kelsey, as much as I currently dislike them, they don't deserve the hate that's getting thrown their way.
No, absolutely
And
not. No.
I am guilty of that. I'll own that. And so I've tried to pull back. I've tried to keep my comments, directed toward them within their behavior in the house. I don't hate them. Once the show's done, fine, whatever. I'm not going to tweet them or anything. I just was rooting really, really hard for Tim and Cassandra to win, and I'm really bummed that I believe there was a little bit of hokey pokey, hanky panky with the switching of the HOH and veto competitions during the double eviction because the brothers couldn't compete for veto, and I'm going to stand by that. I'm not going to back down, and I know it happened, and
you know it happened.
Jordan will not co-sign this. Jordan and Taryn, I don't know if they'll co-sign this, but I know Jordan won't co-sign it, but I believe it happened. Anyway, the point being, that's not important. The point is that even if they did manipulate it and switch those competitions, if Big Brother did that, are the brothers not supposed to take advantage of that? Steve pointed this out to me, and he's right. Of course they're supposed to take advantage of the fact that they have an opportunity presented in front of them. So for whatever reason, it's the brothers and Kelsey and Tim at the end here, and I'm telling you what, I see a brothers-Kelsey final two, which is my worst nightmare.
Steve Moses, the voice of reason, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Steve.
He was here in the chat earlier on RHAPpyswebsite.com. Don't know if he's still here, but hi to Steve if you are here still.
Hey, Steve.
We love you, Steve. But yeah, Steve's right. I mean, that's the thing I think that for a lot of us, I think it gets lost is that these people are just people. They're playing the game. If you were in their shoes, you'd be trying to win. And it's hard. For everyone. Everyone goes into the house thinking, oh, yeah, like, I'm Canada's favorite. I'm going to be loved. This would be great. And then when you come out and then everyone hates you, it sucks. It really does suck. It's not a fun feeling. So I do feel for them in the sense that, when they get out of here, it's probably not going to be so pleasant for them on social media and, elsewhere when they read all the comments and everything. But, while they're in the house, they got to do what they can to win. So, tip the cap to them. Nick, I mean, fantastic job he has really done with the comps. I mean, you do have to respect that to some degree. The guy has balled out every single time when he's had a chance.
Yeah.
He really has. So
yeah, amazingly so for somebody who is a recruit. His brother is the kind of fan, although I think he knows more about Big Brother US than he does about Big Brother Canada. And Nick has just done an amazing job. I mean, thank God he's been there. And of course, Phil doesn't want to hear about that. He's like, Phil actually said this to his brother, and this is why I can't stand Phil. It's mainly a Phil thing at this point with me. He's like, dude, don't say I. It's a we thing. We are getting to the final. And I'm like, he literally stopped his brother from celebrating his veto win just to tell him that. And I'm like, shut up, dude. Let him have his moment.
It's especially
you're still here.
Yeah, it's especially funny given their relationship in the beginning of the game when Phil was saying, "No, you can't be involved. It's all me."
Yeah, it's just completely hypocritical. I mean, Joel hit the nail on the head when he was like, "You guys are hypocrites, and you have a lot of growing up to do."
Yes, he did. Exactly oh my God,
How great was that, by the way? That was amazing.
That was amazing. And the brothers think that Joel. They think that Joel is full of it. They think the jury loves them. They think that Joel does not carry the day with what he thinks. But that's exactly what the jury thinks. They think they're immature, spoiled little boys who have no sense of self-awareness. And I don't Steve posited this to me when we were talking. He said if the brothers win out, let's say they've won head of household, they've won the veto, they've won all these other comps in the past, and now if let's assume for the sake of argument they win the final three head of household and take Kelsey to the final two. At that point, having gotten Tim and Cassandra out of the house, don't they deserve to win? And I'm ashamed to say that I said I would still vote for Kelsey in that spot, but I agree with Steve that the brothers probably deserve to win.
If the brothers get to the final two against Kelsey, I think the brothers deserve to win. I mean, if how they get there is by winning all these competitions, I mean, with the way that Big Brother had, I mean, Taryn and Alex and I are not big on the comps, but, I mean, you gotta respect it to some degree. You really do. And, I mean,
these are completely predictable comps. Like all the comps that have come down the way
here. Like the one they switched?
Well, I mean, I've already ranted about that. I don't want people get mad at me when I rant too much, so I don't want to, I don't want to say too much about that. But all of the questions that have been Final 5, Final 4, Final 4. How can you not know the names of the veto competitions and the people who competed in them? You should know those like the back of your hand.
In fairness, the names of the comps, you get the name said to you once, and that's it. So that I get it. But I hear you in that you should probably remember, okay, who played what competition. Although again, in fairness, I keep contradicting myself. When have we ever seen in Big Brother Canada, Brent, you're saying, oh, well, they should know this. Some of the other stuff they should know, but we've never seen a competition ever in the history of this show that involves, tell me who played all the 6 people, which 6 people played in which veto competition. They don't have those competitions, so they've never had that. This is the first time. So, I mean,
in fairness,
now we can give to them. We can give that to her.
Well,
the other stuff? No, Taryn, go ahead. Taryn, talk. Taryn, please.
Here's the thing. Even with a comp spree like this, all it took was them losing one competition for this all to go terribly and for them to be evicted. One slip up, one brain fart, and they're done. Not to mention the fact that it wasn't just them. They would have been gone the week that Kelsey won HOH. So Kelsey had to win for them, and they relied on that. So
But Taryn, Kelsey's been evicted before. Like, you're saying the brothers deserve to win over.
No, I'm saying the brothers would have been. I'm not saying that the brothers don't deserve to win over Kelsey. I'm just saying, like, if we're giving them credit for winning competitions, we have to be realistic about what that means. And it doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's not a very good way of getting to the end. I respect Kelsey's way of getting to the end more if you take out the fact that she was evicted. Because she was able to maneuver herself into a position where she didn't have to win the competitions as much as the brothers did.
Let's talk about
the fact that they're better at winning competitions.
Let's talk about that. Could you two ever vote for somebody in Big Brother Canada who was evicted and came back?
Yes.
Taryn?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many other twists, too, that it's like...
Exactly. That's kind of my point. I'm like, I don't even care that... First of all, Kelsey never went out of the house. She was, like, out, like, on the stage, and then they put her in this other room over here, okay? So, like, she was in the room of the house. Like, she was with Arissa for, like, 5 minutes, okay? So I don't even mind the fact that she was there and then came back. At this point, I would vote for her just because I like her better. I do. I mean, she is at least palatable to me. Like I said to Steve in our little YouNow chat, here's the problem. The brothers do not... in order to be a winner of a reality show, Survivor, Big Brother, whatever, anything where people are voting, you must meet a basic threshold of likability, okay? The brothers have not met that with this jury. Kelsey, I believe, has. She is a palatable winner to these people, and she's a palatable winner to me. So I don't have a problem if Kelsey gets to the end and wins at this point. I would rather it be Tim, but if it's going to be the brothers and Kelsey, I mean...
Okay, well, let's before we get into the questions, let me ask you guys this question.
All right.
Can Tim get to the final 2? Can he win part 3 of the final HOH? Because I don't know if he can. I'm scared. Like Brent said he thinks it's going to be Kelsey and the brothers. I think it is going to be Kelsey and the brothers because Tim, I mean, other than the show me competition where he won the veto and he went all beast mode and I'm the wild card and all that stuff, we haven't really seen him. He hasn't proved that he can beat the brothers or even Kelsey in these comps.
Okay, or go Taryn. I'll wait till after you.
Yeah, I mean that's the frustrating thing, like Tim and Cass should know more than anyone that you need to study for these competitions, especially for Big Brother Canada, because that final part of the final 3 HOH competition is not a crapshoot like it is in Big Brother US. It is a quiz to some extent. I mean, there's still a lot of luck involved.
Not necessarily. Okay, let's talk about this. Like, it was a quiz last year, but the year before that, it wasn't. And then the year before that, in Big Brother 1, it was like, what did the house guests say when they filled out their applications when they were coming in the house? So I mean, who knows what they would do? They could do it like BBUS, where they get to part 3 and it's like, what does the jury say? Seriously, they could do this. And then, frankly, here's my thing. I think if there's an endurance or some physical, I think both legs have to have some sort of physical element to them in order for Tim to move forward. Okay, I'm just thinking here. If he moves forward, I think the brothers probably move forward. And then at the end, if it's sort of a crapshoot HOH like we have here in the U.S., where, what did this jury member say? What did this jury member say? Tim could win that. My thing is, given how badly our luck has been up until this point, why are we even hoping for that at this point? We should just prepare ourselves now for Tim to be on the bench waiting to be evicted, But even if it's something like trivia, like they did last year with Ashley and Godfrey, they weren't exactly cracking them up last year. I went back and watched that finale about, how many they were getting right and how many they were getting wrong. It was like 60%, I think each of them got right going into the tiebreaker, points-wise. And there was even a point where both of them missed a question at the end. So even if it's something like that, Tim might luck box his way choosing A or B into a win. I mean, it's possible.
But okay, has he studied at all for anything, Taryn?
I think they started to study just a tiny little bit. But I mean, they're nowhere near the level that Kelsey and even the brothers have been studying. Tim just kind of wings it. He's one of those people, those annoying people like I was in school, where we just never study and we just hope that we know the information on the test, and it probably gets him far. He did pretty well in that competition, the Final Four HOH competition, but if he studied, he might know that one answer that is the difference between winning and not winning. And if that's, your game on the line, you win the game or you don't win the game, you need to be studying. It doesn't matter how good you think you are without studying.
Yeah, it's inexcusable. You're in the house all day long doing nothing. Why not? I just don't get it. And if that's what cost him his game, I'm going to be really upset because
I will too.
It's going to be a travesty if Tim gets to that part 3 of the final HOH, and it is the trivia, which I think it probably is going to be. But we'll see how it goes. Let's take some of your questions. You can send them in to me. Tweet me. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Use hashtag RHAPpy. You can leave a comment on the YouTube video as well. Okay, so here we go. This one is from. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just really quickly. I was gonna say I hope if it's gonna be trivia, I hope they make it really, really, really hard. That way, it's basically like who went out fourth during the Price of Veto competition? Was it A, Kelsey, or B, Jared? I don't know. I guess I'll guess Kelsey. Seriously, I hope it's like that.
Yeah, and it should be said that many of the quiz competitions are basically crapshoots. I mean, think about the one that Maddie won, where it's just weirdly worded questions, weirdly difficult questions. You're not always thinking correctly. There's still a ton of variance in these, even with the studying involved.
Okay, here we go. First question from Matthew's Hot Hits. He says, my question is, will the brothers be so stupid that they will use the POV on Tim or Cassandra because Kelsey will get a lot of jury votes? Is there percent chance that the brothers pull a Danielle Murphy and use the veto at Final Four only to see them become bamboozled?
There are no Dans in this house. That's not going to happen. The brothers want to take Kelsey to the Final Two, and nothing has changed that in a while.
Okay, next question. This one's from Gremlin Stump. Gremlin Stump says, on the feeds while Nikki was still in the house, she and Tim had a conversation about how they were more than the grand prize in their appearance fee. Is there any possibility for that info coming out in the jury house with Nikki angry at Tim and ultimately resulting in a jury unwilling to give him the money over the others and dooming us for a Kelsey or brothers win? Brent, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I would say no, because I think even with that, the jury would be like, he still won the game and he deserves our vote. He was amazing. But Nikki was really upset with Tim when she was voted out of the house. I was sort of surprised at how upset she was at Tim. I mean, I didn't think that Nikki really cared that much. I was nice to see that she was angry at Tim for betraying her in her eyes. But I'm guessing no, that will not have any impact on the voting.
Yeah, I don't really think it will either. Okay, this one's from Jordan Goldblum. He says, if the brothers and Kelsey are the final two, who wins? Well, we talked about this. Brent, you seem to think that it's going to be Kelsey.
Kelsey in a walk.
Taryn, you in agreement on that one?
For the most part, I think Kelsey easily had the advantage. I think that if the brothers win out to get there, I think that the brothers win Final 3 HOH and cut Tim. That means they've won like the last 3 competitions in a row, plus a bunch before. I think that some of our giving credit to them for winning so many competitions might seep into the jury a bit, and it might get a little closer. But I still think Kelsey has the edge.
The other thing that could happen too, and I hope this doesn't happen. With Jared in the jury and Raul in the jury, I hope they aren't Bruno and Bobby it up in there trying to make everybody vote for Kelsey. And annoying everybody to death so that the jury votes the other way. I mean, that's certainly a possibility.
Well, in fairness to Bobby was Bobby in the jury house was like the coolest guy I've ever met in my entire life.
Love them, love Bruno, love Bobby, but you did do that in jury.
Bobby did not do that in jury.
Okay.
That was only Bruno. Bruno was the only person in the entire jury house who campaigned for anyone.
Well, hopefully neither Jared or Raul do that.
I don't think they will. I don't really think that's in their personalities. Maybe Jared, but Raul, I don't think Raul really cares at this point.
Yeah, so in the jury video, when they were talking about Kelsey, they were saying now that Jared, now that you're gone, she's going to have to play her own game. So they clearly didn't respect her game up until the point where Jared left, and he's probably not even helping with that situation because he probably wants to take credit for it. So I think how they view her game moving forward from there, are they going to see her as having ridden the brothers' coattails, or are they going to see her as being using them to shield herself from the game? I think they're going to see her as the mastermind behind them, especially if they watch that double eviction where they try to put themselves on the block, and Kelsey has to be like, no guys, don't do that.
Yes,
they're gonna be like, okay, clearly Kelsey is the brains here.
Very good point, Taryn. I hadn't even considered that. I forgot that the jury gets to watch that stuff. Yeah.
Actually, the jury. Well, Maddie did bring a DVD. I don't know. Last year we didn't get any jury DVDs at all. So I don't know if that was a one-time thing because of the Ramsey situation and how unique that was.
Oh, okay. You don't even get to watch what happened during the double eviction. You don't get to watch that.
No, it's all word of mouth. So and that's how it was for us last year. So I will see what the. I don't know. Maybe it's.
Right, we'll ask them.
Clearly, we saw, Maddie have that video about Ramsey,
Yeah,
so I think it might be a little different this year.
Yeah, that's why I said if, because it's still not clear, either way.
What the situation is. Okay, this one is from V-Saint. V-Saint says, which winner is going to show up at the jury house? Now, so I guess in talking about who's going to be the jury deliberator this season, last year we had Ian Terry from Big Brother 14. This is a really interesting question, guys. So I'll ask you 2 questions. Brent, who do you think it's going to be, and who do you want it to be?
Oh gosh, I've kind of come to expect and love Dr. Will's sort of role in being that jury house person coming to the end saying, "Hey guys, let's talk about this," with his Botox face. God love you, Will. But I don't know. I don't care. Maybe it's, what? It might be Sarah Hanlon. It could be possibly Sarah Hanlon. They might bring her. Maybe Brittany. I don't know. You never know. I don't know. It could be anybody. It could be anybody. They brought Ian Terry.
What's that reaction I see in the little bottom square on my screen, Taryn?
Go to hell, Taryn.
I was
all about,
super excited. I was just thinking about all the different people it could be.
Okay, good. You better be thinking. I don't want any funny business on this podcast, my friend.
What are we talking about?
Queen Bee is my good friend. Okay, don't mess with that.
Love you, Brent.
Okay. Okay. Taryn, who do you want and who do you think?
Well, obviously it's great to see Will or Dan or even maybe Derek. But on the other hand, it's like, do they have a little too much power there? Like, I feel like if they had some sort of bias, they would easily be able to manipulate the jury into voting whichever way. So there's some danger there, but obviously fun to see them there. I'd like to see Steve there. I don't know, I think Steve would be really fun there. They had Ian.
Yes, Steve would be great. Steve would be awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And he can talk about Vanessa.
Yeah, he can talk about Vanessa's bitter vote. You don't want to look like Vanessa, girl. Just
exactly.
The thing with Steve is I think he's still under contract with BB17, so I don't think they would let him go. It'll be interesting to see. I think I mean, if I'm going to predict who it's going to be, I think I would guess Derek personally. I think it would be Derek or Sarah Hanlon. I think those are the two that it could be, depending on which route they want to go.
I personally think if it's not Godfrey, then they've made a terrible mistake.
Well, and I was just going to say that who I want it to be is Godfrey. I think Godfrey would be the perfect person. The problem is that with these deliberations, it's always a winner.
Right, it's always a winner. Right.
I think it would be really interesting for them to get, because every year, okay, it's somebody who was a winner, and it's not somebody who's been on the jury. Why not get someone who's been on a jury before? I mean, they know what it's like to be on a jury and to vote, and I think a lot of people who have voted on the jury realize, you know what, I kind of screwed up. I should have been looking at things a little bit differently. Whereas these finalists, when they come in, they don't know what it's like. So I think it would be interesting to have somebody there who...
Well, you have to have somebody who owns it, because Vanessa still hasn't owned her bitter vote from last year.
Yeah, so I don't know who that would be. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It would have to be someone who was on a previous season of Big Brother Canada or a season before 17 of the US, so it would be tough. But
they could have Netta.
Why not try that? I mean, Netta would be great.
Netta got stabbed in the back, and she still voted for the right winner.
Yeah, Netta would be great. Netta had never been to the jury house, but Netta would be awesome. That's another really good one. But I don't know. I'd like them to change it up. Someone unique, someone we're not expecting.
I just want to see Godfrey go there and be like, "Yo, man, you gotta take a closer look at their game, man."
Yeah, Godfrey.
Really terrible, Taryn. Really bad. Girl, try again. JP, like, show him how it's done.
Yo, Taryn, man, like, that was the worst impression of me I have ever seen, yo.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Preach, mama, preach.
No, I've gotten some people say they don't like my Godfrey impression, so never.
I love it.
Yeah, so no more Godfrey. I'm not doing Godfrey impressions for you guys, and apologies to those of you who don't like it. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here's an interesting one. I mean, I don't know. I guess. Well, we'll answer. Why not? I've already gone down this rabbit hole. Who would Tim or Cass? This is from Jessie Marie. She says, who would Tim or Cass take to the final two, the brothers or Kelsey? Now, we think it's going to be Tim. You guys were saying the brothers, but could it be Kelsey? Because I feel like if I'm Tim, maybe Kelsey makes a little more sense.
It's possible. I mean, like, there was nothing ever definitive. I thought he did mention it to Cass that, you know, if he went to the final three and he has his choice, he would take the brothers to the end, but he did mention to them, and I don't know, I think he was just feeding their ego. Before the feeds went off, he said, you know, you guys are going to be legends, all these competitions that you're racking up. So it's possible he may feel threatened by them at the end and want to take somebody who was previously evicted and use that against her in the jury speech. By the way, something Tim said tonight, which I thought was really cool, and then something else he can use if he gets to the final two, is how many times he's been nominated. He's been nominated more than anybody else in the House. So, you know, if he does make it to the final two, another point in his favor that he survived and still made it.
The thing that annoyed me when he said that was he was like, "It's a record," and I was like, "Dude, that's like on your season, not of all time." Like, come on, man.
Right.
But yeah, of course, this season it is impressive. So good.
How did you like that? You know, this is something you only get to do once, maybe twice if you're like me.
or you know what? I mean, why not 3 times? Why not bring Tim back for Big Brother Canada All-Stars? He was pretty awesome. I mean, I'd like to see him again. I think he'd do it, too. Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't know what.
He got to clear his schedule or something? Come on.
Exactly.
He was all the way in Australia.
that is the problem. But he did say he feels like he's an honorary Canadian, so maybe he'll just maybe he'll stick around after. Okay, Walter Reed says, so this episode was full of fluff that led to nothing. Do you think if Ramsey didn't leave unexpectedly that tonight's episode would have been one of those double eviction twist nights? Yeah, what do you guys think would have happened if Ramsey would have stayed in the house? Because, I mean, there's been a lot of speculation about this. We got officially word from Marissa on Thursday last week that Canada will be voting. Taryn, what do you think? What would have been in place of that initial double eviction, or what would have been happening tonight instead?
It's hard to know. I mean, the first thing I thought of when you said what would happen if Ramsey was still here, Tim wouldn't be here. Tim would have been evicted that week, so that would be different. And I think probably they'd just do like an instant or a double, another double or something. if they had something unique planned, they would have found a way to keep it in. So I feel like it was just something not out of the ordinary that they felt fine just pulling it.
Brent, what did you of the instant eviction and the triple? Because we didn't get either of those this season, and I thought for sure we would have seen at least. I thought we'd see both of them at some point. Which one did you miss the most as a fan?
Wow. First of all, I hate instant evictions. That out of everything, that's the one that really bothers me. Just because you have to make your decision so quickly, and nobody has time to campaign, and then the vote just takes place, and you're out of the house before you know it. Hello, Neha. So I think the triple eviction probably was my favorite, as long as, like I said, they announce it ahead of time and say, whoever wins this HOH, you're going to get to nominate 3 people and, take a giant chunk out of the house. By the way, I disagree with Taryn that Tim would have been evicted that week. The whole thing with wanting to keep Maddie was that Ramsey was gone and they had been separated. So if Ramsey's still there and Maddie's still there and Tim goes up on the block in Ramsey's place, I still think that the house wants to get rid of Maddie to break those 2 up at that point. I don't think Tim's in danger at that point. I think that's something you're probably missing.
No, I mean, I certainly think it's a possibility that he would have stayed, but the brothers were all about getting Tim out that week, and they were getting Jared and Kelsey on board while Ramsey was still in the house. So, I mean, obviously we don't know what would have happened that way, but very strong.
Yeah, exactly. Can we please have Ramsey back? That would be a breath of fresh air and light in this travesty of an ending of Big Brother Canada 4.
I thought you were being serious for a second. I loved Ramsey.
I think Ramsey's great.
I was being serious. Oh. Like, I would take Ramsey over the brothers and Kelsey any day.
Okay, because it didn't sound like you're being.
Oh, I'm sorry. No. People, no, I wasn't being a sarcastic asshole. No, seriously, it was for real. Like, I'm like, please, can Ramsey come back in? And I would take Ramsey over Kelsey and the brothers any day of the week.
Okay, going to Twitter now for some of your questions before we wind things down. This one is from @marinara_BBCan4. Please try to explain to me how Cass's game was so great. I just do not see it nor understand. Okay, so yeah, because a lot of people are talking about how Cass is really great, and the edit really does love Cass a lot, clearly. So Taryn, how would you assess Cass's game? I mean, because to me, I would still say she's one of the greatest Big Brother Canada players of all time, but there's not a lot of really great Big Brother Canada players. So I don't think that's I think the edit is kind of being a little bit hyperbolic with how they're portraying her.
I think the edit is being a lot hyperbolic, but that doesn't mean I don't think she's a good player. I do think she's a good player. She's probably in my top 10 for Big Brother Canada players. But there's a lot of hyperbole going on in the edit and on Twitter. People like Evil Dick saying Cassandra is the best player since Dan in Big Brother 10. Like, crazy stuff.
Wait, did he say that?
I'm pretty sure I saw that from Evil Dick. It was certainly from somebody.
Wow.
But yeah, like, there's a lot of stuff, and I feel like people are forgetting that Ramsey leaving the game really helped her out, because maybe she loses Tim there. Ramsey was after her. That was a huge benefit to her game. The twist, again, Tim was probably going to go soon if the buyback doesn't happen, and Cass was a secondary target there. There were a lot of different things throughout the game. We've talked about it before, where just mistakes here and there. It wasn't a great game. Even last week, where she manages to survive. Again, I think that was mostly Joel self-imploding, and we kind of saw that with this week, where she's completely unable to do anything about it.
Well, okay, 2 things. Number 1, I think that Cass helped him self-implode. Number 2, we don't necessarily know the results of the Final 4 eviction yet.
Certainly.
Cass may still have one more rabbit in the hat. If she has a chance to talk with Kelsey, which I know she will.
But hold on. What I mean, what are the odds of that? Really? I mean, come on.
Well, look, I think it's a no-brainer. So obviously.
Oh, it is a no-brainer. But we're dealing with Brent. We're dealing with irrational game players here. Okay,
I would like to think that Kelsey is rational, and that once if Cassandra says to her, look, girl, it's Big Brother, it's okay to lie, Tim will take the brothers to the end, and Tim is a huge jury threat, and I can't win anything. Tim can win stuff, and he will evict you at Final 3, and you get no money. Nothing. You get zip. Okay? If she says that to her, I'm hoping it can appeal to her greediness and say, if I do take Cassandra forward, then I am guaranteed final 2, and I don't necessarily know that with Tim. So, yeah.
And that would certainly help her case, but if it doesn't happen, I feel like the fact that it's such an obvious case and she's unable to make it really does kind of hurt her image as a game player. But again, that said, I think that she's probably one of the better players we've seen. We've only seen 4 seasons, and there's been a lot of bad players. So I think being a good player kind of makes you stand out from the pack.
Like, if you're gonna talk about like why Cassandra is a great player and why she's so fabulous on television, why didn't you come to me? Like, seriously, Cassandra is amazing. Cassandra is amazing on TV. I love watching her. It's a TV show after all.
It's a character. She's great.
There would be no competition if there wasn't a TV show, so you have to be good on TV. I love her. She makes me laugh. She makes me cry. She makes me want to strangle her. And those are the kind of people that make me invested. Like, if Cassandra just studied a little bit, she could be Janelle. Like, she is the second coming of Janelle if she
minus the comps
studied a little bit. And I don't know. When she gets out of the house and we get her on a podcast someday, I'm gonna ask her, girl, why weren't you studying? Like, what happened there? Did you forget? Why were Kelsey and Nick and them doing it?
Yeah, I think Cassandra is an example of somebody who, when she gets another shot to play this thing again, which I think we all know she's going to get based on the edit and just based on how well she's done, I think she really is going to shine. I think she's really going to improve that second time out just because I think people are going to underestimate her, and I think that she's going to learn from a lot of her mistakes from this time around. And I think, isn't Cassandra only 22 years old?
I don't know. She's gorgeous.
Yeah, Cass is 22, so Cass
fun in the DR. She's just great.
She's the same age as me. I mean,
she's everything.
I mean, it's very, very impressive for her to be able to pull off what she's done at such a young age. I think give her a few years, and I mean, she's gonna be tough to beat. I think she's gonna be really good. And speaking of that, of her coming back, I've got a question from our buddy Puya at Puyaism on Twitter. He says, which house guest from this season would each of you want to see again? And which would you wish never comes back ever? So, what do you guys think? Taryn, I'll throw this to you first.
So easy.
Yeah, so Taryn, okay, well, if it's so easy, then I'll give you both. Who do you want to see come back? And obviously, I think we know who you want to see come back. And who do you never want to see again?
Mitch needs to come back, and I never have to see Raul ever again.
Okay, so there we go. Brent?
Yeah, look, I love me some Mitch. But he wasn't exactly the most exciting television.
That's a bunch of nonsense. That week,
just saying.
Up to his eviction were outstanding, and it was all
once he got exactly. Up until then, though.
Well, that's a lot of great players like Andy.
I'm just saying. I mean, all right. So I'm not gonna dump on Mitch because I love me some Mitch, but we have to have Cassandra back, and I agree. I co-sign everything Taryn said about Raul. Never want to see his ass on my television ever again.
Poor Raul. I feel bad for Raul. I feel bad.
Not one bit.
Okay, well,
I feel bad for almost everybody in the house in the game that's ever played the game, not for Raul.
Yeah,
okay.
JP. Wait, I have to tell you something because I forgot to say this. And I can't believe I didn't mention this. JP, Big Brother Canada is one of the few shows in the history of reality television that cast not one, not two, but 3 people from the LGBT community on the same show, okay? They had Shari, they had Mitch, and they had Raul. Mitch and Raul had a final 2 deal. Queer nuts, okay? It's an amazing opportunity you have with an amazing player to go forward in the game. And what does he do? He turns his back on Mitch even though he knows it's not in his best interest and then gets his ass evicted the next week. So I don't feel bad for him. And you betrayed one of your own. Like, seriously, girl, bye. I don't want to see you again.
Okay, well, I'm going to say...
we know you have to hang out with him, Jordan.
I'm going to say, here's what I'm going to say. Okay, who we need to have back on this season, just to be different, because those were the 2 that I would have used, was Mitch and Cass, but I want to say a different name. Who we have to have back? Ugh. You know who I thought was very entertaining? I thought Levita was super entertaining on the show. I think Levita should come back. I don't know if we need to have her back, but I just think her archetype of like basically like HOH or like she was either HOH or basically out the door every week when she was in there, so she was entertaining in that regard. But I'll say Tim. I think Tim needs to come back. I think Tim was great. He really lived up to the hype for me personally. I hope, yeah, and I really hope that they ask him back, and I hope he comes back because it would be really cool to have Tim in a house, you know, with John and Netta and, you know, Emmett and all these other people from past seasons. I think that would, and Godfrey. I think, can you imagine Tim and Godfrey in the same house? I mean, that would be the coolest thing ever. So Tim's got to come back. And in terms of who never needs to come back, man, I really don't want to say it.
Oh,
but
I'll say it. I know who you're gonna say.
Who am I gonna say?
Christine. Girl, bye. Like
no. Christine's super nice. I met Christine. She's
okay.
I'm gonna say probably because I'm never gonna meet him, and he's probably never gonna listen to this podcast, and because his life is fine. His life is fine. Jared. I mean, he doesn't need to. You know, he's got the Kessler curls. We don't need to see Jared again. We already have Emmett. We already have Zach. We already have all these other macho guys. Jared, I don't think we need to really see him on the show again. He played a good game, but no, I don't really need to see Jared. There's a cookie cutter type of character on the show. Okay, last question. This one is from @KatieLow17, Katie Blue on Twitter. She says, is it too early to talk about BB18 predictions? Do you guys think the cast will be all-stars, newbies, or mixed? I figured because, you know, there's nothing really going on in Big Brother Canada this episode, so why not throw this question in here? Brent, I'll throw it to you. As someone who has applied for this season of Big Brother 18, what do you think it's going to be this season?
Well, it has to be all-stars because they didn't call me, so obviously they're not casting newbies on this season. Like, come on. Like, let's be real. Right? Like, I'm praying it's all-stars. If it's not all-stars, I'm praying it's newbies. I really don't want to see half and half again. I just think that's a terrible combination. It's the newbies always get walked on. They keep going back to the well. It's happened on both seasons of Survivor and the season of Big Brother that they did where they had, and even if you count the coaches season, you know, I know Ian won at the end, Dan ruled that season. So it's so much nicer to see people who've all played against each other, who have all played the game before in the house together, or have a season all of newbies. I'm okay with either option, just no half and half BS.
Taryn, what do you think? Just, I mean, obviously none of us have any idea, but if you were going to take a guess, what would you say?
I think it's going to be mixed, and I hate it, but I'm pretty sure that's where it's headed. Like, just based on the conversations about it, there have been rumors that it's mixed, so it's just like.
Well, if it is mixed, then I hope that the people who are new on the show, like, really realize, you know, the opportunity that they have in front of them, and that they're not just, you know, welcome mats for the veterans. I hope that they actually go for it. I mean, if that happened, then I would be satisfied.
Based on the intel that I have received, this season does have new players for sure. I can tell you for certain, at least from what the information that I've gathered, there are going to be at least some new players on this season. I think I'm with Taryn. I do think it's going to be a mixed season, which really sucks.
Great.
But
I want to ask this question then before we go. Why can't they just give us what we want? All of fandom in BB wants an all-star season. Why can they not just give us what we want? What is so hard about that?
Brent, life ain't fair, brother. That's all I got to say.
But why? Why do the half measure? I just don't get that.
I don't know. I mean, Julie Chen did an interview, I remember, like 2 years ago with Entertainment Weekly, and she was like, yeah, you know, I don't think season 16 was so good. I don't think we need to do All-Stars anytime soon. Why would we? I don't think it could happen again. So, I don't know.
Well, then cast all newbies then. I mean, like, I'm okay with that. But, you know, like, if you don't
half
have
and
to
half,
all-stars.
yeah, half and half sucks. I agree.
Half and half sucks.
Yeah, I hope it's not the season. But anyway, getting a little off topic. Thank you guys for joining us for this edition of the RHAPpy Hour. We appreciate it. You guys are the most diehard of fans because we basically we just spent like an hour talking about, I don't know, an episode that really had no content in it. So you guys are awesome. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. we need a hashtag from you. So while I'm winding things down for you, you guys in the chat, if you can think of any hashtags, that would be awesome. Brent or Taryn, if you guys have any, that
Yeah,
would
I
be
had
great
one
too.
last time. I forgot mine. I don't have one this time. Taryn, do you have one?
Teddy bear was robbed.
What?
Teddy bear was robbed? Oh, from earlier from Taryn.
Makeout.
I was going to say hashtag next question, because when Brent was going on a rant earlier, he was just like, next question. That was really good. I like that. That was pretty funny. Also, on this Mother's Day, I just want to wish a happy Mother's Day to everyone, and also a congratulations to Topaz Brady from Season 1 of Big Brother Canada. She just announced today that she's pregnant with her first child, so congrats to Topaz.
Yay! You know what? I heard Topaz actually sent her Mother's Day card to the wrong mom, actually.
I was going to make that joke, but it was too easy.
And apparently, Alec Beal is the father. So there you go. So big congrats to Alec Beal. Alec Beal is having a kid. So if you guys, if you could do a favor for me, tweet at Alec Beal and wish him congratulations. Say congrats on Jordan Parhar wanted us. JP wanted us to say congrats on your wife being pregnant. So please, everyone, tweet Alec. You know what? Why don't we just make that the hashtag, because there's nothing like too crazy. So if you want to show your thanks to us, you can tag. You can tweet myself. I'm at Jordan Parhar. Taryn, he's at Armstrong Taryn, and Brent, he's at One Lucky Gay. But normally I would say, okay, tweet us and let us know what you thought. Leave your comments. Use the hashtag. This time, instead, don't do that. Tweet at Alec Beal and say hashtag congrats Alec, and then say something nice about him being the father of Topaz's child. I would really appreciate that if you guys could do that for me. That would really mean a lot, and I think it would be entertaining. So if you have any comments on the show, you can leave them always on RHAPhasawebsite.com. I read every single one of those, good or bad. So I appreciate that if you leave them. And if you have any ways you want me to improve the show, I'll listen. I really will. If you don't like the Godfrey impressions, leave a comment, and I'll stop doing it. That's I'm doing this for you guys. I am. So please leave those, and don't forget, leave a rating and review for the RHAPpy Hour. You can do that by going to RHAPhasawebsite.com/RHAPpy-hour. You can go to, that's all done through iTunes. Helps the podcast grow. And for 3 people at the end of the season, I will be giving you a Jordan Parhar related prize. It's all going to be at random draw. So get those in before Thursday. That's the deadline. I'll be announcing it on the Thursday finale show. So if you have left a review, make sure you tune into that. So that way you find out if you won. So guys, any final thoughts before we wrap things up?
Alec Beal, call me. Hi, how you doing? No, it's been a fun season. I'm not really happy with the ending of this season, but I'm hoping that Tim can pull it out. I'm actually a little bitter though that we have to wait until Wednesday to find out if Cassandra pulled a rabbit out of her hat. The good thing about BBUS is that they always put the final 4 nominations and the veto in the same show. So, because obviously it's just a bunch of fluff, but Big Brother Canada won't do that. So we gotta wait till Wednesday to find out what happened with Cassandra. Go Cass!
Yeah, and what I want to see happen is I want to see Kelsey win the final 3 HOH, and then I want to have Tim completely snow her into taking him over the brothers. He's going to say, you can't beat the brothers, they won too many competitions, you have to take me. I want to see the greed get to her. I want to see it in her eyes. She cuts the brothers at the last second. She ruins her integrity. She takes Tim and then finds out that she ruined it for nothing because she just lost $100,000 and Tim is the winner of Big Brother.
Yeah, that's
Canada
great
4.
fan fiction. Fan fiction.
This is all I have left, Brent.
All right, I know. I'm with you.
That episode was kind of blessed, so Taryn had a lot of time to run with his imagination and come up with that scenario. So there you go. Okay, quickly, 2 final notes. Steve Moses just DM'd me and said, "Can we just do the podcast with Brent and Taryn every time?" That's what he said. So
He's a winner.
Shout out to Steve Moses for the love. We appreciate it, Steve. Thank you for watching and listening. And someone in the chat said, what is a Jordan Parhar-related prize? Well, basically the prize, you're not going to like this prize if you don't like me. If you like me, you'll like this prize. If you don't like me, you're not going to like this prize. So that's what it is.
Qualifier this whole time.
Yes, that's really what it is. If you're a Jordan Parhar fan, you're probably going to like this prize. So that's all I'm going to say. It's a tease. You'll find out. And I think maybe if you were listening to the podcast back in the fall, then then maybe you'll figure out what it is, because I was talking about some prizes I was giving away back then. Quick again, final announcement. One emergency message from Steve. He said, "I want the podcast with only Taryn and Brent, not Jordan Parhar." So
and that's why I love Steve.
Yeah.
So there we go. So Steve had to clarify that. So as though a wise 70-year-old man from Big Brother 10 once said, Steve, you always be Judas in my house. I'm sorry, but you will.
That was worse than I got for you.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a little. That wasn't so good, JP.
Okay, you know what? Screw you people. Screw you people. No, I need Alex Kidwell to do the Jerry impressions. Only he can really do it.
After love, no one else.
Okay, well, wrapping this up has taken 10 minutes, so we're gonna go. Thank you to everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. For Brent Walgamon and Taryn Armstrong, I'm Jordan Parhar. #congrats Alec. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.